So we're going to talk about two types of governance. You have coded governance, which is the black and white side of things. And what we want to do is to really have all these objective things that is, very mundane, very boring. We want to outsource it to robots because robots are very good at that. And then the subjective things will be kept to humans because humans are much better at that. So let's look at resolution mechanisms, which are the coded governance. So this is automated. Firstly, smart contracts, they are hard-coded into the system. Why do I say that smart contracts are resolution mechanism? Smart contracts, if you don't know what smart contracts are, it's a very basic contract that has just one premise. If something happens, then something else happens. So in smart contract, I will write that if I bet that the candle will go out in 2 hours, so that's my if statement, then I will get half a Bitcoin. That's my reward. So it's a very simple statement that it's hard-coded into the system, and two parties just agree. So you can resolve all of these problems very easily with smart contracts that's automated. So it will see. So somehow the smart contract will see that if it's in 2 hours and is the candle still there or not, and how do you deal with, and then how do you allocate the rewards? So these smart contracts are automated. The other stuff that is automated are oracles. So oracles connect smart contracts with data from the off-chain world. So this is where the automation, so smart contracts is just if something, then something, right? But the if something part, this clause, how do you get information there? We use oracles. So oracles is just automatically gets data from the outside world, or maybe on-chain world, whatever, but usually from the off-chain world, come in and put it into the smart contract. And so the smart contract can make a decision. And then we don't need humans to go and verify, oh, the candle is still there. No, maybe we have an IoT device that can track if the level of carbon dioxide in the room or the level of oxygen in the box, and decide if the candle is still there or not. So these are different ways to do that and different oracles. So another example is shelling point. So shelling point is one of the resolution mechanisms that is possible. So we talk about shelling point, I think in lesson 2. So shelling point is basically a natural point that people tend towards. Sometimes we call it focal point, and it's by an economist called Thomas Schelling. That's why we call it shelling point. So he found out that people naturally just tend towards a specific point or specific goal. And if I say, let's meet tomorrow in New York, where will you go? You'll probably meet at 12 p.m. in the Grand Central Station, because that's just a natural point that people tend towards. And majority of people go towards that. So if that's something that people naturally do, can we automate this? Can we automate this natural phenomenon that people exhibit and turn them into resolution mechanisms? And this is what these three protocols have done: Witnet, Shelling Coin, and Truthcoin. Now I'll share a little bit more about what they are and how did they use Shelling Point as an automated resolution mechanism so that we don't need so much of human input. So I put Witnet first, Witnet followed by Shelling Coin followed by Truthcoin, because that's the level of automation reduces to a certain extent. Witnet is a purely decentralized oracle network, and the voters are computer nodes, so computers. So it's 100% automated. Shelling Coin it can be peer-to-peer, it can be humans, and it can be robots, machines. Depends on the things that you're asking asking them. I'll talk about that later. So it's to some extent automated, and then Truthcoin is just peer-to-peer. It's a peer-to-peer oracle and a prediction market. So the system is automated, but the way it's getting information is slightly less automated because you've got human inputs. So it reduces in automation from Witnet to Shelling Coin to Truthcoin. So what's Witnet? Witnet is a decentralized oracle network, and it uses computers as votes. So think of Oracle as this big ball, the crystal ball, and then you ask them questions, and the crystal ball will go out to the off-chain world, find out information, come back and give you the answer. So it's easy if it's an objective thing, right? So that's what Witnet does. Witnet, you tell the computer that what's the temperature in Helsinki yesterday at 4 p.m. Witnet will ReadNet's computers will go into all the different weather forecasts in Helsinki all around the world, and then tap into their APIs to get information. Then they will get information, they come back, and then they will verify the data against each other to see which is the information that's right. And the Schelling point is where it's the right answer, right? Because majority of people tend towards that. If the temperature is like 30 degrees Celsius, because it's summertime, and majority of them say so, then yeah, that's the answer. That's the Schelling point to say that that's the answer. And then they'll be rewarded in whatever tokens available. So, and then with Schelling, that's ReadNet. With Schelling coin is interesting because it provides data as well, but it provides subjective data. And what do I mean? Because it can be any questions that you want to ask. Let's say it can be any question. And how do they define the natural point? Is they look at the median. Median means the 50th percentile, which means the exact middle of all the answers available. Then you just take the middle one, and then they have a plus 25 and minus 25 percentile. So a 25 to 75 percentile, that's where majority of people are. That's where we call them the Schelling point, where majority of people tend towards, and that's the correct answer. And that's interesting because with Schelling coin, it's slightly different because it's not objective. It's very subjective. So let's say you ask, what's the best show on Netflix? And it's really subjective. So we take a vote on the 25 to 75 percentile, which is the middle point. So you really exclude the extreme ones. And that's the right answer. That's the 25 to 75 percentile. And then they're rewarded with tokens. And then the ants will lose out their tokens. So that's Schelling coin. That's how Schelling coin works as an oracle. And Truth coin is where it's peer-to-peer, and people basically own the vote coin. They can vote on the outcome that they think is true. So oracles will just go out and get information, and then for ReadNet is you verify data based on computers, right? With Truth coin, as a voter, I've got a coin. I can vote on that. I can vote whether the outcome that's taken by the oracle, the data by the oracle is true or not. So these are different types, and obviously the one that the majority is the one that people tend towards, and that's the Schelling point, which is the correct answer. So these are some automated resolution mechanisms that are in place to allow people to get to allow information to be available for everyone, and you don't need so much human input. You can use a lot more automation, and then when the oracle gets the right information, then it can execute the smart contract and everything will be allocated. So you don't really have so much human input.